Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chris Clark, and today's video is all about our curriculum choices for this school year. This will not be an in-depth review of any of these choices or even a flip through. This is just going to tell you what we're using and kind of the reasoning or why we came to that decision. So I haven't been active on here for a couple of years, so chances are maybe you're brand new to my channel, brand new to me, don't know anything about me. But if you are a follower from a couple years ago, then some of the choices in this video are going to be surprising. I've used Masterbooks for several years and have genuinely enjoyed so many aspects of it, and I still enjoy Masterbooks. This is not a why we're quitting Masterbooks video at all. It's not even a criticism of any of their curriculum. So we still own a lot of Masterbooks resources, and we will continue to use them this year and in the future. And I absolutely think that it can be a great fit for many families. This is simply what our family needs in this season, and I'm going to explain our reasoning as to why. So a little bit of background, I have 5 kids. This year I have a preschooler, a 3rd grader, a 5th grader, a 7th grader, and an 8th grader. And as my older kids have grown, I've noticed and realized that I need a curriculum that's a little stronger in the skill-based subjects. So mainly math and language are what I'm focusing on here. But we still want to keep the parts of homeschooling that we love, which we love family learning, we love discussions, we love creativity and engaging literature-based, all these things. And I don't usually gravitate towards workbooks or worksheets. But one thing that I've learned over the years is that curriculum doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I don't feel like every subject has to come from the same publisher. And in fact, I've never thought that. I've always been eclectic, and we've always used bits and pieces. And I found myself supplementing, and then it got kind of to a point where if I'm supplementing this much, it became more work for me, and I really, as the mom with 5 kids, needed something a little more straightforward for where we're at right now. So instead of trying to have one publisher, fit all the boxes, I'm trying to pick and choose based on what I feel like each publisher does best or what each curriculum fits best for our family. Okay, so for math and language arts, this is the biggest change in our homeschool. This year, we are switching to Christian Light education. This was a hard decision, a tough decision, because we have previously used math lessons for a living education and language lessons for a living education. And for me personally as a teacher, I absolutely love those. And my kids enjoyed the lessons, so that it's hard to step away from something that on so many levels is working well, but then is not working in some pretty big areas for us personally. So that was a really tough decision. And like I said, the biggest change in our homeschool. So after doing the placement tests, well, let me back up a little bit. We, just a little history in case you didn't know, we started our homeschool journey with Sonlight. We used a Sonlight History Bible Literature, Core A. We did Horizons for math, and we used the Sonlight Language Arts. And then we switched to Christian Light Education for 1 year with my oldest, and then went back to Sonlight, and then went to Masterbooks, and then have been at Masterbooks been with Masterbooks for years. Okay, so this is sort of like a coming back to our roots, really. So we knew about the program. I knew how it worked. I was comfortable with it, and that's kind of what kind of led me in that direction to be looking in the first place. Okay. So after doing some thinking, and then also a conversation with my 8th grader, who was feeling, one, she wanted more work. And if your student is coming to you or your child's coming to you asking for more work, it's really hard to be like, no. I mean, I love that. I love that she wanted more. But also she was wanting some help developing a few skills that she personally was wanting more practice with. Okay. So this led me on a little bit of a research of okay, well, what are we going to supplement with? What are we going to do? And then thinking, why am I doing so much supplementing? So I had them do the placement test, and then I realized that there were some foundational gaps that I wanted to address before moving forward. So we decided we were going to use Christian Light, and then rather than pushing everybody into their grade level, I decided to place them exactly where they tested, which I highly recommend. Anytime you're switching curriculum, or anytime you're even moving along in curriculum, if they're not placing in whatever level you're trying to buy. Please don't push them forward. Just place them where they are. My third grader is using grade 3 math and grade 2 language arts. My fifth grader is using grade 4 for math and grade 4 for language arts. My seventh grader is using grade 7 for language arts and grade 6 for math, and then my eighth grader is using grade 8 for language arts, grade 7 for math. My older kids have always been a little stronger in language arts, and my third grader has always been really strong in math. So I know sometimes people get nervous when their kids place below grade level. Honestly, I had a little moment too of like, oh, I don't know, but I'd rather spend this year filling in any foundational gaps, skills, getting them brushed up, than continually trying to build on a foundation that might be kind of shaky. So that's one thing that I think CLE does really well, is building this firm foundation. And so I'm happy to step to whatever level they need to make that happen. My goal is not to race through this curriculum. One thing that really attracted me back to Christian Light is just that it's known for strong academics, lots of review, which is what we were really looking for, lots of practice, and helping students become independent workers, independent learners. So that's something with 5 children. Homeschooling, independence is becoming more and more important. And most of my kids are fairly independent when it comes to their schoolwork, but just continuing with that. I didn't want to switch to a program that would be super teacher intensive. For reading, we're not making any changes. For reading, we use the Sonlight reader packs. And I should say this is for my children who already read, so my 3rd through 8th graders. I buy just the books, like what would be the independent readers that go along with like the history, Bible, literature of Sonlight. In the younger years, you can buy them with a discussion guide. In the up through like 4th or 5th grade readers, I think it is. And then you start to purchase like the D readers, or the D and E or E, whatever. And it just goes along with the history, Bible, literature. And so the reading and discussion guide is actually in the language arts. So we just go without the reading and discussion guide. By that point, I don't feel like we really need it. Like their comprehension level is great. So I don't really worry about that. I have them write summaries, like short book reports, and I use that to gauge whether or not they're understanding the material. And really, it's just for reading practice and to expose them to great literature. So I don't see any reason to change something that's working well for our family. My kids look forward to reading. It's like a highlight of their day. They will read from their school books, right, which is from the Sonlight reader packs, and then they do reading on top of that from books that they get from the library. We also use pathway readers, so they'll do a chapter out of that every day. So they spend a lot of time reading, and they really like it. For history this year, we are continuing with Story of the World. We're doing it family style. We love doing history together. It's very relaxed and casual in our house. We read aloud, we discuss what we're learning, we do projects, and I adapt expectations based on the age of each child. In future years, we've gone through America's Story from Master Books, and I do plan to use World Story, and I have a couple of resources like The Struggle to Become a Nation. I have a couple other Master Books history resources that I'm considering for future, but that's future planning. So for this year, Story of the World. And science. So science is one subject where we are sticking with Master Books. I think Master Books does science so well. I think this is one of their biggest strengths. The books are beautiful, like especially like general science, where we have the Wonders of Creation series. Like you have these reference textbooks, and then there's like a study guide to go with it. Okay, so I'm splitting my kids with my olders and my youngers for science this year. We've done science as a whole family before. We've done individual levels for everybody before, and my kids kind of get a vote in science, and this year they wanted to pair up. So my older 2 are doing a science together, and my younger 2 are, and then my preschooler is just kind of along for the ride, whatever he wants to do. But we haven't finalized. They're still trying to decide. They're still voting on what they want to do for science. And we do a soft start when we come into a new school year. So right now, like we started this last week, and we are doing math and language every single day, and reading, which reading never took a break. We do that throughout the summer. And we only take about a 3-week summer because here in Texas, it is so hot, and it is gross outside. So we'd rather be inside doing our schoolwork anyway. And we take time off when the weather's nicer, and that's when we like to travel as a family anyway. So I know that my big girls are considering the paleontology course or anatomy. They really want to do the anatomy, and I think that's where they're leaning towards. But they don't have to make their decision until next week, but I'm pretty sure that's where they're going to end up. And then my younger two are doing the zoology course, which they actually listened into. My older ones did that a few years ago, but they were very young, my younger two, and didn't really get to do that to the fullest, and they want to. So that's what they're doing this year. And then finally, my preschooler. For preschool, it is super relaxed. I keep things very, very relaxed for preschool. He is using Master Books Stepping Stones along with a few just like preschool workbooks. And this is really just because he loves to like do school. He wants to sit down and do it when the other kids are in there working. And he's just kind of mimicking them. But honestly, I don't really believe that worksheets are where most preschool learning happens. It just isn't. So most of his learning comes from us reading together or playing, talking, building with blocks, exploring outside, just helping around the house. So the workbooks are really just a fun addition because he's excited to participate and he wants to. Okay, so the big why are we making this change? After several years of homeschooling, I've realized that every curriculum really has its strengths. And for us, I wanted, like I said, the stronger skill instruction in math and language arts. Not every student needs tons of like drills and repetition, but mine do. As we worked through the placement tests and honestly took a look at where they were at, like where each child was, I realized that we needed a curriculum with more repetition and more emphasis on foundational skills, especially mastery in language arts and in math. So that's what led us to CLE. At the same time, I don't want to lose like the rich discussion times and the couch time and the cuddle time, and great books and the sciences that we enjoy and the experiences we've had. So instead of switching everything, we're kind of mixing and matching, like I said, being eclectic and trying to find the best fit from each option that we have to fit our family really well. So in a quick summary wrap up, or if you skipped ahead to this to just like get to what we're using Christian Light Education for math and language arts, Sonlight for reading, Story of the World for history, Master Books for science, and Master Books for preschool. I also use 100 Easy Lessons for teaching how to read. My preschooler is not there yet. We're just working on letter recognition right now, but that's what I'll use to teach him to read. I'm definitely excited to see how this combination works. Like I said, this will not be an in-depth review. I will hopefully at some point throughout the year update with how it's working for us, and I'm happy to answer any questions. As always, this is not a recommendation that everyone should just like jump ship and make the switch. If whatever you're using is working for you and your family, that is great. Keep doing that. I'm big on like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I don't want to be jumping from program to program, but at the same time, every child's different, every homeschool is different, and I don't want to be afraid to make a change if we need to, but I don't want to do it unnecessarily, especially like I don't want to switch math programs frequently or ever again. If I'm being honest, that was another draw, is that everything goes all the way through 12th grade. And so if the program is working, it's just something that we can just keep clicking along with, and my kids can know how the program works, be used to the schedule, like all of that. So that would be great. So yeah, this is just what we think is right for our family right now. And I really appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. I'd love to hear what you're using this year. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on any of the choices that we made, how it worked for your family, or tips on how you've found it to work, like on ways that you found to make it work better, or just anything. I love to discuss curriculum. So leave me a comment and I'm happy to chat with you there. Until next time, happy schooling.